we work. Here's how, here's how. So much for you to learn about, lots to see and do. Follow us, we'll have some fun. Here's how, here's how. So follow us, we'll show you now. Here's how, here's how.
All systems go. Stand by.
Stand by for what?
I don't know.
Is this some kind of rocket ship?
Looks like an elevator to me.
Get ready for liftoff.
For liftoff?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off!
I knew there was a trick.
Riding the elevator is a safe way to travel in space. We rise above the Earth and return just by pushing a button. These days, we depend on elevators, especially in the city. Who built the first one? We don't know, but in ancient Rome, heavy loads were pulled up on platforms by slaves or animals. And the Egyptians had hoists to build the pyramids. Heavy platforms were carefully balanced using a system of weights and pulleys.
They'd be the first freight elevators.
Did she say freight or fright? They look scary.
The platforms were great for lifting things, but people didn't dare ride on them. Can you guess why?
The elevators had no brakes?
Right. There were lots of crashes. In those days, no one would get on an elevator if they could help it. It was safer to take the stairs.
That must have been the first express elevator.
Until the invention of the elevator, there were few buildings more than 5 stories tall. People walked from floor to floor.
Well, it was good exercise.
You wouldn't want to walk up to the top of this building. Elevators allowed us to build tall. The skyscrapers changed the look of our cities forever. Skyscrapers were possible because of an important new discovery. This man, Elisha Otis, had invented safety brakes.
Safety brakes?
Sounds like a rock group. Elisha Otis and his safety brakes. I like it.
Mr. Otis found a way to stop the car from plunging down the elevator shaft. When the rope snapped, his safety brakes locked in. The car stopped until someone came to the rescue. Now we could build as high as we wanted.
If Mr. Otis were alive today, he'd be surprised.
Safety brakes also made life easier under the ground. The miners could take the elevator. Gradually, people became more confident. Today, we trust the elevator. There are very few accidents, and no one worries about falling down an elevator shaft anymore. When a new skyscraper is going up, one of the first things an architect thinks about is where to put the elevators.
Well, that's a funny-looking building. It has no windows.
That's called a core, because it's in the center of the building.
The core looks very strong.
It's solid concrete. See the little openings?
Yes.
They're doorways. The elevator shaft is inside the core.
So those openings have to match the doors on the elevators?
Exactly. When the core is finished, the rest of the building is then laid out around it. You could build an elevator like we did. Make the car from Lego blocks and the cables from yarn or string. Then, hang it inside the building. Our building was made from a cardboard box. Don't worry, a real elevator wouldn't be this wobbly. Before an elevator goes into a building, it's checked out here, at the test tower, and there's plenty to check out. The test tower is really an elevator shaft. The technicians can see whether or not all the parts are working. They can test the hoists and cables in here as well. Do the doors open and close properly? And how does it ride?
Goes down smooth as a cheese souffle.
These men have come to install a new elevator. All the parts are unloaded. You have to have special training to be an elevator mechanic. There goes the door frame. While the elevator is being put in, inspectors keep a close eye on things. When the elevator's working, it'll move at about 30 kilometers per hour. How does that compare to the speed limit in your town? And another question. How many parts do you think there are in one elevator?
I'd say 500.
I think there are more than that.
Yes, I do too.
17,000?
Still more. The real number is about 28,000.
In one elevator?
Think about that the next time an elevator breaks down.
They forgot to build a shaft for these elevators.
In some buildings, the cables and wheels are all out in the open. This is the only safe way to watch an elevator working.
That's right. Elevator shafts are very dangerous.
Stay far away from them.
The elevator isn't wobbly because it travels on rails. Weights keep the car balanced and make it easier to lift. Most buildings have a machine room on the roof. This is where the elevator hoists are kept.
Too bad Mr. Otis can't see this.
The hoists lift the cars up and down. Elevators are watched all the time. Computers can usually spot trouble long before it happens. What do you think would happen if elevators just disappeared? Could we get along without them? How would your life change? How would your neighborhood change?